Journalist for 10 years in the Star, so that I asked a lot of questions, I read a lot, and that's how I got here. You know, I'm a bit careful. Alright? Okay. I think quite simply, local government, right? Here at MBSJ, what they do is urban planning, waste management, maintaining an infrastructure. That's why we call them every time. We are unhappy that they don't collect our rubbish, our garden waste, or the potholes, or our drains are broken. That's all under local government. That's all under MPSJ, right? So like today, this morning, I heard there was an uncle in SS18 who was cycling right in front of Hatijah Maju, and his bicycle wheel got caught in the metal grill of the drain, and then he fell. So these are all part of MBSJ's responsibilities to keep our streets safe and clean. Yeah. So in terms of structure, the mayor is of course the CEO of MBSJ, right? And then there's all the different department heads, whether it's public health or environment management, engineering, Jabatan Bangunan and all that. Jabatan Bangunan is the one where when you apply for renovation, you go to them for permit. And then there is the board of councillors, which is supposed to do the check and balance of what the operations of MBSJ does, right? So you want a councillor, it's similar to the corporate world, it's your board directors. But what's a bit weird here is that your mayor is also the chairman of that board. So how many companies we know where the chairman and the CEO, same person, unless it's your grandfather's company, right? Yeah. So in this aspect, this is where a lot of us, we feel quite strongly about local government elections, that we should elect our own councillors and elect our mayor. Or if you don't elect a mayor, maybe even if we maintain the mayor as the CEO of MBSJ, then the chairman of the board has to be among the elected councillors, right? Yeah. Otherwise, it's quite, who's going to... The mayor can control everybody lah. If you get a good mayor, that's good. But that's leaving it to chance. Right? Today you get a good mayor, tomorrow mayor is transferred out, he retires, then you get somebody not so good. Yeah. And okay, so I've been chairman of SS17 since 2024, so this 2.5 years. And I always maintain that, look, Rukun Tetangga is part of a federal mechanism. We report to Jabatan Perpaduan, and MBSJ reports to the state government. So a lot of times, all your rubbish problems, you don't call me. But I cannot help it, because after a while, everybody gets angry. My mandate is unity and harmony. But there's no harmony in the society or in the community anymore when people are all upset that their trees are not pruned, or the drains are clogged, or the garden waste is not picked up. So I pick up, once it becomes not an isolated case, I pick it up. And of my biggest grievance here with, I think we're just neighbours as SS18, is that our rubbish collection is never up to mark. So KDB this year got a new contract, right? So the schedule more or less maintains. They collect your domestic waste 3 times a week. They are supposed to collect your garden waste 3 times a week. In SS17, maybe not even once a month. I don't know what's like here. Is it? If you are luckier, then maybe you're better than us. I don't know. Okay. They are supposed to sweep our streets once a week. They are supposed to clean our drains once a week. They are supposed to clear the rubbish bins in your public parks every day.
Supposed to.
Okay. These things besides the domestic waste 3 times a week, I don't see the rest happening. Is it happening here?
No.
I don't see them sweeping the leaves.
Okay. So and the new contract kicked in this year after a 7-year contract expired last year. So last year and the year before, the 6 and 7 year the contract, they gave us a lot of excuses. I think Dr. Hamida knows, she signed an MPP with me. All the excuses were really operational. Oh, minimum wage has gone up, our lorries cannot cope, diesel prices have gone up, spare parts have gone up. So we tolerated it. In the final, okay your forecast not, okay, they say also another reason is the tonnage. They say a lot more rubbish. Subang Jaya has grown so much in 7 years. So much more rubbish than, in the contract agreement. Okay, so in your 6-7 year, they say, okay maybe your forecast not good. We will continue making some noise, but not so loud. Okay, now you just sign a new contract. We are paying them 82.9 million. MBSJ is paying them 82.9 million ringgit a year. Okay, which is about 25% of the budget of the whole MBSJ. MBSJ has their annual budget is about 300 and something million. So 82.9 million goes to KDB to keep our Subang Jaya clean, right? Do they deserve the extra 10 million? Because before this, it was 73.3 million a year. So we gave them nearly 10 million more, expecting better services. For me, I don't mind paying 20 million more. So if you can fulfill and you do a good job, right? And we're paying so much more, and then the excuses are the same. We are now by March, April, they started telling us the same excuses. How can your forecast be so bad? Your management is so bad that 3 months into your new contract, you cannot cope with tonnage. That you cannot manage your lorries, you cannot manage your team, your workers.
The main problem is there is no enforcement. You can pay them more, but you don't enforce them. You need an enforcer to make sure that they enforce it.
No penalty
You can
clause.
kill them.
There is a penalty clause, I was told.
Enforce it.
That's one. But again, is what I'm told. I was told. Actually, nobody has actually seen the entire contract. They have not allowed the councillors to see the full contract.
Why?
I don't know. The councillors tell me I'm not a councillor, right? So I am as upset as you because even Adun tells me that she has not been allowed to see the whole contract.
But you cannot be giving the same excuse every time.
So for me, you all want our place to be clean, and we don't care about because the rest is your problem lah. You signed the contract, right? So you fulfill lah.
Enforce it. Remember they raised the fee rent last year, right? Across the whole country. They must enforce it. Somebody is not enforcing it.
There is no open tender also because KDB is a state GLC.
Okay, this is the point I'm trying to also stress out. First, thank you to Ing Hock for his explanation. Right? Round of applause for him, please. At the most fundamental level of every government, whether it's the local or the MP or the ADUN, it has to be about transparency. Correct? You're right. Why cannot show the contract? Surely you must be able to see the contract. For the local government especially, there must be a local government election. Because they are actually appointed by the political parties. Are these people they appoint competent, experienced, good integrity? Nobody knows. The party decides.
We know.
You know. Yeah.
Who said nobody knows?
No, but before the appointment, nobody knows. Is the ketua cabang say, this is my brother, okay, you go in there, count him. This one, you go in there, count him. If they were elected, at least they got to stand up here like Ing Hock, I explain, whatever, then you bantai him lah, right? Yeah? So having a local government election is essential. Until they do it, there is no answer to your problem. If you're lucky, it is a page manifesto, uncle, you're correct.
So why are they keeping quiet until now? Why are they keeping quiet until now? We must really voice it out, right? We must voice it out.
Yeah. A lot of things happened when the Pakatan Harapan took over. Okay? They didn't enough to cross the 51%. So they had to do a deal with UMNO, Barisan Nasional, GPS, GRS, and they formed a coalition government. The irony of this deal is they have 2/3 majority today, but cannot do any reform. Cannot do any meaningful reform. Yeah, that's the core issue. You don't take it from me, you take it from Bersih, from the NGOs. They published a report, I think last year or 2 years ago.
D.
Yeah? You
Yes.
remember?
I recorded.
You recorded
I published
Of
article
all
also.
people that actually they said was the best prime minister, from Najib to Mahathir again, to Muhyiddin, Ismail Sabri, and then now Anwar, these 5 prime ministers of the recent 7 years, they actually said Ismail Sabri was the best. This was a report
Yes.
from Bersih.
That was basic.
Yeah, no. There you go lah. Got 170 million issue, don't know where go, right? Yeah. But that's the irony of this. The one thing I can tell you now that we learned from this entire exercise is this. We used to think, when I first joined the party 16, 17 years ago, we used to think we have to reform, right? And the only way we can reform is to get to power with a big majority or even 2/3. Then we can change the constitution, we can implement anti-corruption measure, right? But no, anybody get 2/3, they become like Mahathir. Don't have to listen to you. Yeah, I can tell you the journey for me personally. In 2022, after we won December, right, we were hopeful for a lot of things. Then reality set in. After 1 year, no real reform. After second year, no real reform. At the start of the third year, many of the more inclined-minded reformists in PKR, I cannot speak for DAP lah, DAP is their own business. We PKR, the PKR MPs led by Rafizi, Nick, Hassan Karim, the guy always making a lot of noise, Kesavan, Rozia, Bhatia, Zahir, Chen Chong, myself, Kaheng, a few of us got together and said, hey, we cannot wait. Dah 2 tahun, nothing moving. So we took a position to pressure our own Prime Minister, our own government. We told them very clear, whatever law you're going to pass in Parliament, if we're not happy, like the Urban Renewal Act, the URA, which favours developers, we stopped. We said no, we will not. Yeah? Actually, the government can still ram through. Because 10 MPs make noise, apalah, you need 51% only. Correct? But for the constitutional amendment, they need every one of us. You understand? Yeah, because they need 148 MPs. So we took it as a position to try to force reforms from our own government internally without whacking openly. Because we have to play by the rules. We are all in one soccer team. You cannot shoot own goal. This World Cup analogy. Yes. Again, mic please. Again, mic please. Come.
Sorry, you mentioned big reforms. Hello? Yes, okay. So you mentioned big reforms, but for example, the contracts that cannot be revealed, right? Instead of having local government elections, right? What about the promise for the Freedom of Information Act?
Yeah.
This could be a small reform to just minor disclosures about these kind of things. The local government, because the rules come from federal, right? So yeah, why?
Selangor already have a Freedom of Information Act for the last decade. Yeah? But the process not easy. Only one good news for you. I don't know whether good news or not lah. Yeah, SS14, they have a big fight amongst the community, which is quite sad lah. Because I don't want community to break. Okay? There's a big fight over the flyover. On one side is the current people, one side is Wu lah. Yeah, people have conflicted views about what Wu stand for. Okay, and then there's Joe Singh also. FOI, and recently he got an FOI access to the actual document. Yeah, but the fact is, when I, as a member of parliament, ask my own government, tak boleh. please apply through FOI. You are crazy. How can a member of parliament apply for FOI? It's for the residents to apply for FOI. They should give it to me, as part of the government, that document that we request for. So walaupun ada FOI, dia tak pakai, or they make it very difficult. So this is not a new thing. Putting a new FOI is not going to help because it's already existing for 10 years. I hope you understand this. What we really want from the federal government and the state government and the local government is complete transparency, and that is a political decision. That's the reform we want. Then you can say, why you tak potong my pokok? Kalau potong pun, I tell you one real story. In my area in Kinara side, they had this giant tree, 4-story, almost 4 or 5 story tall. Every time the wind blow a bit, and it's next to a low-cost flat. So they asked for pokok to be trimmed, otherwise they takut the thing fall and then hit the low-cost flat. I went and asked the councillor there, how much does it cost? Came back 10,000 ringgit. To potong the pokok. I asked my staff, call any contractor, use the, just go internet and find lah. Come back, quotation 4,000 ringgit. Can discount some more. That kind of thing should be available to all of you. Every cent, because you are paying cukai pintu. That's how the council get the money for 360 million a year to spend. If they are giving the money, like Eng Hock say, give them another 10 million for garbage collection, and you're not happy, what needs to be done? It needs to have an open tender. It needs to have very basic, at least 2 companies competing against each other. Because a monopoly, is counting one. Don't have to meet any target. Don't have meet ROI, nothing lah. Just jalan only. So monopoly is bad for the country. Yes, here's a question also.
Hello. Yes, my name is Noor. I'm a retired lawyer. So there's 3 prongs to what I've heard, what you said. The first one is, if the forest reserve is reserved as it is stipulated and the developer bought it, why can't we acknowledge it at what act it will show? Because all the requirements are not followed. So basically, that agreement can be void at...
Okay, the first point is, they degazetted this land a long time ago, right? So but the political promise was not to develop and to re-gazette to forests. They didn't. After coming to power, the land was degazetted in 1926 or something like that, right? When they come to power, instead of reverting it back to a forest, they sold the land to a developer. That's why we couldn't block it. What they should have sold to the developer, that's the point, right? But we're talking about transparency and accountability. So when the member of parliament asks for information, they block you. Okay, second question?
The second question is the FOI. I was involved with you. Okay, so I can relate with experience because they have got 3 kind of level. Once you submitted, then you wait for the letter for them to reply. The second meeting is to go and have, it's not a hearing, it's to get leave. As a lawyer, So they will determine at that point whether your submission will grant you a leave for hearing. Then you have a hearing. As far as I have experience, I think so far what we went through, if your paperwork, the documents are in order, it's quite easy to get what you wanted. That's why we got it. Okay. And the third thing I wanted to ask is, I read in passing that you were denied of some payments from the federal government and all that. I'm not sure what it is.
That's a parliament thing. How do I explain that?
Okay, because that would be relevant to what was being asked just now.
Okay.